What up? How's it going? Hey, where do we go from here, right? It was dope to see how they took a children's game and made it so horrific, right? I made a joke that there was only going to be about a quarter of them left. I did not expect that they were really going to just leave about a quarter of them there. They got out all the weak ones, right? I want to see now, because there's going to be a bunch of games they have to play, I want to see the symbolism within these games and within the gameplay, right? Because a lot of the symbolism that we saw early on, it was just flat right out there, right? Like it wasn't something hidden. It wasn't even really subtle, but it was outside the game. But here, I feel like now we're going to see the nitty gritty, because that was only the first episode. So this is going to be crazy. Hey, episode 2, Squid Game. Get all them bodies up out of there. No evidence. I should be laughing at that. But my man puts the fingers in there like, get your ass back in there.
두 사람 덕에 살았어요.
Oh, yeah.
살아서 다행입니다.
456명 중에 255명이 탈락하여 첫 번째 게임을 금하신 참가자는 201명입니다.
돈 꼭 갚을게요. 꼭 갚을게요. 아직 이름도 못 지어서
They gonna be like, fuck them kids.
신고도 못했는데요.
알려주세요. 저희는 여러분을 해치거나 돈을 받아내려는 게 아닙니다. 다시 말씀드리지만 여러분에게 기회를 드리는 겁니다.
We're just trying to help you.
게임의 규칙만 잘 지키면 약속된 상금과 함께 무사히 이곳을 나가실 수 있습니다.
상금이고 뭐고 다 필요 없으니까 제발 그냥 내보내줘요.
All of us could act like, hey, we'll do this, we'll do that when we watch shows. Put yourself there in that moment. I could see begging. Like you could be up there and be like, I'm tough, but I'd be in the back. Like, hopefully this work. I hope what they do would work. You know what I mean?
동의서 제3항 참가자 과반수가 동의를 하면 게임은 중단된다. 그만두고 싶은 사람이 더 많으면 여기서 우리를 내보내주는 겁니다.
Oh shit. But when y'all leave, y'all still got these
그럼
debts.
투표에 앞서 첫 번째 게임에서 적립된
See?
상금을 공개하겠습니다.
Yep. Yep. All that horrible shit they just saw, everything they went through. Look at this young lady right here. The first one down on her knees begging. But when she saw that money, she's like, oh, it's life changing. Never even considering, oh, I might not have a life after this. But yeah, the bag will do that to you, the bag. The bag, as they say. Oh, not stop. The fact you got to look up at it, right? It's like this unattainable thing. But there's a way to attain it.
근데 6개 게임 다 통과하면
Just clear this up for me.
얼마를 주시나요?
참가자 456명, 따라서 총 상금은 456억입니다. 게임의 속행을 원하시면 초록색 동그라미 버튼을, 중립을 원하시면 빨간색 X
I knew
버튼을
this moment
눌러주시면
was
됩니다.
coming. For her to be the first one on her hands and knees, weeping, sobbing, begging, and then be the one to ask, hey, we make it through how much money you said? See? Like, putting it there is just... Man. I can't even believe it.
다들 이 짓을 계속 하자는 거야 지금?
해야지 그럼. 나가면 뭐가 달라? 어차피 나가도 생 지옥이야 이 씨발.
여기서 희망이라도 있지. 나가면 아무것도 없어.
다 끌어들이지 말고 이 개새끼야.
지금부터 민주적인 투표 절차를 방해하는 어떠한 행위도 용납하지 않겠습니다.
Democratic process.
그럼
He ready for this. The way I saw him moving on red light, green light, green. Oh shit. So how does it keep going?
여기서 그만두는 거 아니잖아.
그래.
Oh.
우리라도 계속하게 해줘요.
그래 계속 안 해줘요.
Oh shit.
이렇게
그 나이에 순진한 거야 멍청한 거야? 당신 풀어주면 돈 내놓으라고 나한테 뭐라고 할 거잖아.
너 이리 와. 내 돈 내놔. 내 돈 내놔.
Hey man, come on, dog.
내 돈 안 내놔. 내 돈 줘.
사장님 감사합니다. 걸어가요.
여기서 안산까지 걸어서?
That's dope, man. You're a good guy, man.
기다렸다가 버스 타고 가요.
자, 그러니까 이상한 사람들이 모르는 사람들 수백 명을 운동장에 모아놓고 게임을 하라고
That sound crazy, right?
그거죠?
여보세요.
예, 아침부터 실례합니다. 뭐 좀 여쭤봐도 되겠습니까?
누구세요?
예. 죄송한데요. 혹시 게임 같은 거 할 수 있습니까?
너 뭐 하는 분이신데 아침부터 전화로 개소리세요? 게임을 하고 싶으면 혼자 PC방에 가! 이 변태 새끼야!
뭐야?
전원이 꺼져 있어 음성사서으로 연결되며
너희는 어디 간 거야? 문을 다 열어놓고.
Oh no.
쌍문동의 자랑, 쌍문동의 낙후 기른 천재. 서울대 경영학과 수석 입학 조상우가 뭐가 걱정이야? 다시 펄면 되지. 엄마한테 가서 다 말씀드리고 새로 시작해.
선물을 했어.
선물? 선물로 그 돈을 써? 누구 선물을 얼마나 비싼 걸 산 거야? 아이, 그냥 개인 파산 신청 같은 거 그런 거 하면 안 되나? 그거 하면 돈 안 갚아도 된다고 하는 것 같던데.
내 거 말고 어머니 것까지 다 들어갔어. 집이랑 엄마 가게까지 다.
이 정도면 통증이 심했을 텐데 모르셨어요?
치료만 하면 되는 거죠?
최악의 경우엔 수술로 발을 절단해야 될 수도 있습니다. 일단 입원부터 하시고 치료하면서 경과를 좀 지켜보시죠.
When they went through the democratic process and she said, hey, what you expect us to go back out to? It's hell out there also. And look what they're walking back into. It's hell, at least for them, right? Like in our mind, that shooting range they was in, the shooting gallery, that's hell. But imagine going back out from what that was and look at what his mom was going through. He didn't even know about it. You know what I mean?
치료 안 받으면 큰일 난다잖아.
그럼 내가 그냥 이래 누워 있으면 월세는 누가 낼 기가? 너 하루 병원 입원한 값하고 약값하고 얼마인지는 알아? 그거 벌써 해제해가 다 써버렸잖아. 제발 좀 정신 좀 차리래.
취객이에요?
그냥 미친놈이야. 오늘따라 아주 정신없어 죽겠어 아주.
누나가 나 여기다 버린 거래.
아니다. 엄마 아버지 꼭 오실 거다. 누나가 꼭 그렇게 만들 거야. 내년엔 우리 다 같이 모여서 한 집에서 살게 될 거다.
쌍문동 사는
성기훈이요. 쌍문동 사는 성기훈.
맞다. 성기훈. 아는 사람 맞아?
저 그 사람 주소 좀 따주실 수 있어요?
왜 전화 안 받아요?
전화했어? 몰랐네.
네.
무슨 일 있어?
사장님, 밀린 월급 주세요. 나 이제 고향 갈 거예요. 제발요, 돈 주세요.
야이씨, 밖에 있는 애들한테 물어봐. 걔들은 월급 받았는가? 수금이 돼야 돈을 주지, 이 새끼야.
나 이 새끼야.
Man, yo. Take it and bounce. That's his fault. Paid what you owed.
그 사람은 그거 떨작 갔다고 탄동까지 직접 갔다가 오히려 공안한테 걸려서 북으로 다시 끌려갈 뻔했어. 일단 니네 부모 소재 파악부터 다시 해야 되고 요즘 국경 경비가 살벌해져서 강 건너주는 비용도 많이 올랐고
그래서 얼만데?
최소한 4천 이상은 있어야 거기서 다시 남조선으로
Yo. Yo, she don't play that shit.
그 새끼들이 돈만 받고 나를 줄은 진짜 몰랐다. 맹세.
돈 구해온다. 한 번 더 나 속이면
Dead.
다음에 무조건 네 목부터 딸 거야.
Got him.
혹시 조상우 씨 어머니
Oh,
되십니까?
no.
예, 조상우 우리 아들 만난대요.
조상우 씨께서 횡령과 사문서 위조, 특정 경제범죄 가중처벌법 위반 혐의로 체포영장이 발부됐습니다.
누굴 체포해요?
Man, so many businessmen. They'll just end it, man. Shit goes so bad. The workload over there for businessmen is hellish. Like, I saw something that said they got some of the best paternity leave in the world, but no one takes it, really. Like, that's not even a thing. That's not even a thought. Why? Because you'll be so far behind. Because everybody else is working from sun up to sundown. Like, forget 9 to 5. Forget some extra time. The status quo is you're working from sun up to sundown. Who's to say if that's super bad? Because look where Korea was, and in just a few decades, look at the place they hold in the world now. It's because they were working heavy. So now that's fully part of the culture. But the thing is, a lot of this comes along with it. What do we call it? We'd call it political intrigue at the top of the business realm or some shit like that. You know what I mean? New number.
ये पैसे लो और जितना जल्दी हो सके फ्लाइट टिकट बुक करके बच्चे को लेकर घर वापस जाओ।
और आप?
तुम दोनों को पहले वापस जाना होगा। मैं अपना काम खत्म करके घर वापस जाऊंगा तुम दोनों के पास।
내가 2달 안에 갚을게.
친구끼리 돈 얘기하는 거 아니야. 너나 나나 사정 뻔히 알면서 그래.
Right.
우리 엄마 병원에서 당장 수술하라는데 내가 정말
자기야, 이제 그만 들어오지.
들어갈게.
She said, "Let me intervene for he."
담배 끄고. 기훈 씨.
예?
남의 가게 앞에서 담배 피시면 안 되죠.
No loitering, sir.
아, 여기 괜찮으세요? 술 드셔도 돼요?
괜찮아.
아, 이거 안주가 없어서 어떡하죠?
Hey, I done it. We all done it. You put that pack, sprinkle it on the dry noodles. Hell yeah.
나 다시 가기로 했어. 얼마 못 살 텐데 이렇게 죽을 날만 기다리다가 가고 싶지 않아. 밖에 나와 보니까 그 사람들 말이 다 맞더라고. 여기가 더 지옥이야.
That's what I've been getting from this episode, man.
그러니까 네가 화요일까지 애들을 끌어모을 수 있을 만큼 모아놔. 총도 몇 자루 구해놓고.
총이요?
그놈들 총이 있어. 근데 픽업은 한 놈이 나와. 그 가면 쓴 새끼를 잡아 조져가지고 이 새끼들 금고 있는 데로 쳐들어가는 거야.
근데 형님, 애들이 지금 회장님하고 돈 문제로 형님이 잠수 타신 거 인천 바닥에 소문이 쫙 퍼져서. 근데 필리핀 카지노에서는 얼마를 날리신 거예요?
Like, keep it real with me.
네가 그걸 어떻게 알았어?
형님, 그러니까 그거 좀 적당히 좀 하시지.
이 새끼가 미쳤나 이씨.
덕수야.
덕수.
씨.
Got him.
필리핀 전기빵 하는 애들이 네가 빌린 돈 대신에 네 간, 콩팥, 눈깔로 받아간다고 지금 여기까지 왔잖아.
Dang. You about to die. Oh, no. There we go. Do something to him. Yeah.
웰컴 투 코리아. 웰컴.
I'm out. I'm out.
가. 애들 아빠 올 시간 됐어. 가.
야, 너 자꾸 왜 근데 그 인간이 애들 아빠야?
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy to say that to him.
너 애한테 뭐 해줬는데? 너 그럴 자격 있다고 생각해? 너 가영이 나타날 내 옆에 있기라 했어?
Why wasn't he there, though?
너도 알잖아. 내가 갈 수가
Why?
없었다고. 동료가 쓰러졌는데.
나도
'Cause he was working hard and
쓰러졌어. 그날 나 혼자 기다시피 해서 병원 가서 좀만 더 늦었으면 가영이 죽을 뻔했어.
그놈은 그날 죽었어. 내 눈앞에서.
This is a hell of an episode. But he gonna tell him, but don't ever come back. Watch him say that.
우리 가족 앞에 다시는 안
Yeah,
나타나주셨으면 합니다.
Yeah, we knew that was gonna happen.
가영이가 많이
Knew that.
힘들어합니다. 이제 미국으로 떠나야 되는데 자꾸 이런 식으로 부스 나타나시.
Said, Daddy, why you steal on him like that? Daddy, you stole on him.
저희 형 찾아야 합니다. 안 돼요. 제가 지금 누굴 도울 수 있는 처지가 아닙니다.
I mean, dog. First, let me start by saying don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you are subscribed, make sure to hit the notification bell. Shout out to all the new viewers. Shout out to all the subscribers. And I have a Patreon, full-length and early reactions to things like this. If you'd like to, check it out. Oftentimes, reactors and reviewers like to break stuff down by breaking down the seasons in comparison to each other or the episodes in comparison to each other. And with this, I can't even do that. I can't even say how I feel about episode 2 in comparison to 1. What I will say is episode 2 made me like this even more. Episode 1 is its own thing where you're like, yo, you think you get it and you think you understand where it's going. And then we get to this episode, and when the vote happens, right? Let's unpack the vote. First off, everybody is in there. They're in despair. They're desperate to the point where the woman starts begging, I'll pay my debts. I'll pay my debts. God said, oh, no, this isn't about paying debts. It's basically about us helping you. You get to win some money. And they're like, yo, this is crazy. And people were shouting, no, let us go and all this. Pulled the gun and said, listen, only way you get out of here is if you die. You got to play the game. And then somebody brings up rule 3. If we vote, we get in the game. So they have the vote. And I'm thinking they're going to vote. They're going to end up voting to stay. And we just go from there. And that's not how it went. Like, I thought I understood what was going to happen. And once I saw that third rule, I knew that would come into play at a certain point. But the way they did it was fascinating. To have the young lady who was there begging and pleading and saying, let us go, I'll pay my debts, be the one, with the rallying cry for staying and completing the game once shown the amount of money. It's like, yo, isn't that how it is? I understood from the moment we saw that rule that, okay, I thought more of them would do it. But no, of course it'd be half and half like that. Because people are smart. Nobody want to go into no shit like that and get killed. But on the other end, it goes back to what the girl who was begging and pleading first says. The woman who was begging and pleading first. What do you think we're going back outside to? It's hell out there also. And that's what this whole episode was about. Now, let's go into the whole democratic part of this. And for them to say this democratic process is funny. We're like, yo, these people are voting against their own interests, right? Like they're voting against leaving a place where it's almost certain death. And yeah, but if I'm at the bottom and I look up, like on here, literally look up and I see that goal and they say, this is how you reach that goal. Even though there's more chances are more than likely that I will not reach it. But I'm seeing that. That'll make you think. That'll make you change. That'll make you vote against what we would say is their own interest. But for them, it's not. It's like, no, if I can make it, if I can get there, you know what I mean? I'll be one of them. I'll have some money. Dog, that was such a fire moment. Like I said, the way these people who set up this game, to put that see-through bulb up there with all that money where you have to look at it and it's something you must attain. I mean, come on. That was crazy. And everything they're doing, making them vote while knowing, hey, you're just going out there to hell. You're going back out there. Like, they chose you for that reason, right? They had their little underlings and debtors sign over your body parts, and then they had you play the games, and so you were willing to serve up and sacrifice yourself for some money on a low scale. But if you're willing to do it on that low scale, they can push you. They can push you, at least half of them, right? Because it was only one vote that made them leave. Then we get to them on the outside. Like I said, I wanted to see how they take this when it comes to the game. I never considered that, oh, it's not just game from here on out. So let's start with our main guy. He goes to the police. He says everything, and they look at him crazy, right? Red light, green light. What? A bunch of people died. Okay. Yeah, how many? 456. Okay. And as he's leaving, right, they call. First off, the cop calls the number. Some chick picks up, act like she don't know what's going on. Then he walks right outside, calls the number disconnected. So yeah, they playing a dope game. Then we have him going to his house. He can't find his mom. Finds out his mom is in the hospital and she had diabetes and she was hiding it from him. She's been dealing with this whole time. And then when she leaves, she says something and breaks it down. And this is where it's like real tragic. That first episode, horrifying moments. This episode, tragic moments that just, it's the human existence as it is today in modern times. With a lot of these societies that are built the way they are. Okay? This man, his mother, who he lives with, she says, I cannot afford to go and sit in that hospital. Who is going to pay the bills? I cannot afford to go sit in that hospital because who is going to pay the hospital? So now we're looking at just the tragic part. When you're poor, oftentimes you're too poor to be sick. Even for the so-called middle class, you're one sickness away from being in their situation. Okay? So that was like this tragic moment. So he's like, yo, I got to go borrow some money. He asked his friend. He already knows what his friend's going through. His friend's a businessman, but he said he can't even afford to pay the rent where he's at. Okay. Where his business is at. So he goes and he asks his ex-wife. And I'm thinking that's what it is. He's asking his wife. She says no. She says she's on her allowance. We don't have it. But then they have this argument that was just, right? We talking about some human shit right now. He worked his ass off. When they said he worked in a factory, I was like, I would assume either the jobs went away and then we see this. He used to work so hard. He worked in a place where his partner died. His coworker died right in front of him on the day that his child was born. And his wife still resents him for that. But the thing is, he was bringing in money. That was his way of bringing in money. Now, I don't want to get into who's right or who's wrong, but that's human shit. Of course, she's like, yo, you wasn't there for the birth. But he's like, I had to take his spot because that's the way this runs, is it's next man up. And that's the tragedy, not the argument they're having. What caused that argument? It was his family or his job, right? And if you don't make the right choice, your job will be at stake and you'll won't be able to take care of your family. You might even lose them. But what happens to the job? The job is always there. The job, someone else will take it. Crazy. Then let's go to the old man. That old man, he said it straight up. He laid it out for all of us. After everything we had seen, he said, yeah, they were right about the torment that beats us outside here. Facts. Ali hasn't been paid for 6 months. That man is using and abusing this worker. And it's to the point where a crime, like, even if he didn't do it on purpose and he didn't do it, it was just a mistake, Ali would get locked up, right? But he needed that money. 6 months, you haven't paid him? Like, that's like, not like, that's slavery at that point. Right? And you be like, well, you could go work someplace else, but where else he gonna work? That's what he can do. He's an immigrant, right? Like, where can he work right now at that moment? Okay. The businessman. Okay. That businessman, he did some shady shit. My man signed away, even his mom's worth. You feel me? Risking his mom's worth. Think about all that work she put in to get him where he's at, and he signed that away. And look at where he's at now. But did you see the way he helped Ali? Did you see, like, in that real quick moments, he gave him money. He let him use his phone, needed a battery for it, so he bought the battery and then let him use his phone, got him some noodles. And the thing I can say most about all these people, this showed their humanity. It showed that none of them are hellified. None of them are just some full-on scumbags. These are people just trying to exist in a system that exists right now. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some more to the scumbaggery. Like I said, the businessman, he did some scumbag shit. Let's go to the gangster, right? So when we saw that guy, he was beating up that girl, from that moment on, I understood, no, this is a gangster. He's a mob. Like, he's part of the mob, okay? You can tell by how he was talking. They had some business dealings earlier when he was beating up the chick. Then he's with this dude who he thinks is helping him. Hey, go give me some guys. We're going to go in. We're going to rob the place. I could, you know what I mean? We could go in. Now, you owe some money to the Philippines. So he served him up to the Philippines, and my man killed him. That is gangster dealings. The thing is, we've sort of, in today's day and age, we sort of use gangster as this term of just somebody who does something that's cool, that kills people. But that's not what it is. It's about the dealings that go on within the gang life, gang culture, gang structure, that sort of gangster lifestyle. And his response to that man serving him up was to stab the fuck out of him and kill him right then and there in cold blood. So we see the type of guy we dealing with that. Now, he's a hellified individual, but we don't know if he got honor because he killed somebody who just tried to set him up. With old girl, he was whooping her out because she owed money. That don't mean he don't have an honor code. That doesn't mean he doesn't have an honor system. We're going to see more of that. My man jumped in the water. We saw, okay. Then we're going to see let's talk about the girl who's the North Korean defector. She needs her mom to come back over. Her brother is in an orphanage. She's out and about, and she needs that money for him. And the dude keeps trying to play her. And of course, they try to play the vulnerable people. That's the biggest thing about this that you see. A lot of these people are vulnerable, and they try to play them. But somebody who went through what she went through and is at a place where she's at, now she, as we could see by that ending, she probably knows how to deal with things a lot better than others. We saw that in the first episode where she was holding that dude's head like, how about I push you, right? You saw her cover her face? She's different. She's knows how to deal with weirdos. Now, the last thing is we have the cop following him, looking for his bro. I want to see what goes on with that. How would he end up in it with them, and how can he hide as he drives behind them, right? Like, maybe they know he's on the way or something like that. I don't know, because they've been videotaping and keeping logs of stuff that we don't know. Hey, this was a hell of an episode. I've been talking for 15 minutes. I could talk about this for forever. This was a great episode. I like what this is so far. And I hope that people are not just enjoying the savage parts of it, but the human parts, because that second episode was a monster to me. Hey, next episode.